Alright, so officially this is going to be our first lesson, and we're going to go over an introduction to C Sharp, exhibiting or highlighting some of the important terminologies that we're going to use later on in this course. And of course, during your life as a programmer as well. C Sharp is pronounced like this, and it's a modern object-oriented programming language developed by Microsoft. And focus on object-oriented, as this is really important, because these programming languages nowadays, they try to mimic real-life scenarios by driving these objects or the entities from real life into the usage or the utilization in the programming languages. For example, imagine that you have a car, and this car has color, make, model, has, for example, a steering wheel size or tire size. Then you combine these attributes or these properties, what we call them in the programming languages, with the functionalities of the car, for example, to start and stop the engine, to accelerate or to speed. And you combine them into one big block, which we call class, and then you derive an object from that class and you start using it across your application. Now, this is what we really mean by an object-oriented programming language, is that it's driven by real-life object, and it's kind of a way to sort these objects into your program to make it more organized or more kind of meaningful, more meaningful to your application, rather than just using X and Y. It's used to build web applications, desktop applications, and mobile applications. You can think of it as a tool to give instructions to your computer. Now, we have two main types to identify or declare the data, and by identifying or declaring the data, you can imagine, if you're coming from non-computer science background, the variables that we use in the calculus or mathematics, for instance, X, Y, Z, let's take them, and each one of them is meant to bear a set of unique data. One of them only can store integers, which are like the fixed numbers. One of them can store integers and decimals, which are the floats or the doubles in our case. One of them can store the letters, which we identify them or declare them as characters, and one of them stores only the true and false values, which we'll declare as boolean or bool. And what I have just mentioned now are called the primitive types, which are the most primary types to be used in our program, and they are the simplest values. You don't need to identify an instance, you don't need to declare anything in advance, you can just go ahead and use them. We have some more complex types that will combine some of these types plus some of the objects as well, like strings. Strings are a set of characters, so you can imagine like characters are being combined together into one big sentence, and then this variable will be called string. And we have classes, which I explained earlier, and we have the array, and you can think of the array as the matrix in mathematics. We use them to store collections or data or custom objects. Okay, so now let's jump to the program and see these terms in action. Alright, so let's open the software first, and we can do that by going to the Start menu and typing in Visual Studio 2022. Then choose Create a New Project, and we choose the console application at the moment, as this is going to be a comprehensive course. We're going to focus on just executing the program. Choose the console application that says C# underneath it in the bottom, because some of them says Visual Basic or C++ or JavaScript. We're just mainly concerned with C# for this course, and hit next, and now you get to name your project My First Project, in case you have more than one project and you need to contain them in one folder, which we call them the solution folder. You can name this a different name, for example, My Projects. And in the future, of course, you can add more projects to this folder. For now, we just hit next, and we choose .NET 8 long-term support. this is the latest release by the time I recorded this lesson, and then create. And of course it will show you right now the platform in which you can start developing the applications that you're intending to. To the right side, you can see the Solution Explorer, in which you can view the projects, the dependencies, the files that you have, or the folders in case you added any of any folders in this view. Here you have the output screen. You'll see the result of the execution or debugging of your application in this little screen. If you closed any of them, don't worry about it. Like, you can close all of them and reopen them from view. You can go to view, Solution Explorer, for example. It will open Solution Explorer. You can choose the output and it will open the output. You can pin and unpin them just to make them stable to your application. And this is a comment line, meaning the comment lines do not get really executed. You can just remove them or keep them, doesn't matter really. And you can hit F5 to debug your application, meaning to see if you have any mistakes that you need to rectify before going ahead and executing your application. In this case, I'm just going to hit F5, or you can just hit that one, and it will show me hello world. Of course, if I had committed any mistakes, I wouldn't have seen this result. And this is by default, by the way, this is a default program, a default line. We didn't write it there. It just comes with the creation of the project. But if I had added like a line out of order, and then I hit F5, you can see there were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? You can choose yes or no. If you choose no, of course, you see the error in the error list, and then you can correct it. It says like CS102, and you can search that error in case it was ambiguous to the description in the description. But if it was as clear as that right now, just semicolon, you can just go ahead and add the semicolon here. My chief point is that if you go to the output screen right now, you can see 0 succeeded, 1 failed, and you can see why. You go to the error list and you see you were expecting that. Well, now if you try even to execute it again, it will show you another error because this one doesn't contain a value and it's not really stored in any variables. It says like only assignment, call, increment, decrement, await, and new object expression can be used as a statement. So meaning this one is wrong. You can of course choose to have a value inside of it, like world, and then put it in a variable, call it string greeting equals hello world, and of course you can shift this to the bottom, do greeting. That would resolve the issue and you'll see hello world. Okay, yeah, so that's it for the first lesson, and in the second one we'll start examining more primitive types and non-primitive types.